Now, it may be the case occasionally that somebody reading this material on our website has been made very uncomfortable by something, has had a negative reaction to one of the messages. If that's happened to you, then first and foremost, my advice to you would be don't panic. You do not need to call Ghostbusters. You do not need to throw holy water at your computer. Well, probably. I would urge you, in the act of reading, to exercise some self-awareness and remember that when we read something, any text in fact, we also bring our own personal baggage to it. Sometimes we can react for objective reasons, but sometimes we react through reasons which are much more subjective. And I think that it's very important to try and discern what the category is into which our reactions fall. Now, how are we going to do that? Well, let's think of some examples. Somebody may react to a message by saying, not buying it, because it contradicts church teaching. We hope that won't be the case with anything here, but we're fallible. That's an objective reaction. But it can still have a subjective component, because remember that when we say it contradicts church teaching, often what we mean is it contradicts our understanding of church teaching, which may not be the same. So if you do have a reaction like that, before you send an email to us, first of all, check your sources. Check the church teaching that you think is offended by the material. And try and do that with as much objectivity as possible, remembering that our interpretation is something that we always bring to a text, and that includes the catechism, it includes any kind of church document too. It may be that there's an objective problem, but let's try and recognise the possible role of our own subjectivity in the way that we react. Now, there's also a category of reaction which is much more obviously emotional or subjective. For example, if you look at YouTube threads commenting on people who post prophetic messages, you will often see people say, I don't like this, I think it's not of God because it's making me afraid, and fear is not of God. Well, of course, there's a certain degree of truth to that second statement that fear is not of God. But is the fear actually coming because of the objective content of the message? Or is it something which is within us and has simply been exposed by that message? Now, having said that the claim is often that this material may well be heavenly in origin, if you're saying that the work of the Holy Spirit is, or also includes, the unveiling of things within ourselves so that they're brought to the surface, so that we can deal with them, that can also be triggered by reading some of this material. Now, if you think about that logically, that's actually a positive process, but it can appear negative at the start. So what can happen is that a message claiming to be from heaven may set off a reaction in us because it triggers our own fears which are not necessarily rational, but which may actually be playing a negative role in our lives. And that exposure may be actually something that we need. So paradoxically, the negative reaction may be a necessary part of a spiritual process. That's a subtle thing, and that takes time to discern. It takes a certain effort. Perhaps it takes conversation with somebody who we consider to be more experienced spiritually than we are. So, as I said, refrain from hitting that email button until you're really sure why you've reacted. If you've analysed that and said, in all honesty, no, I really think that there is an objective problem with what I'm reading, then okay, then you please do engage us. But before doing that, take a look at yourself and say, what am I bringing to this? What is my own state of mind? Why did I react to that? Am I simply reacting allergically, or is there a deeper issue, either with the text or with myself? And I hope that that will be something which ultimately will be positive and not negative.